All right, we're going to go ahead and kick this off. Can everyone see the presentation slide deck to start?
Yep.
All right. Thanks so much, everyone. Welcome back to the West Virginia Outdoor Economy Webinar Series. Really excited to have Willie Jacobs with us from Trailforks to go over some of their tools. Before we dive into the webinar content itself, I want to give a quick update with what's going on at the OEDC. I'm your host. My name is Corey Lilly. I run the West Virginia Outdoor Economy Webinar Series. So if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions on future webinars that you'd like to see in this series, please reach out to me. Would love to hear your thoughts on what you'd like to see in the webinar series. We're booking them out all the way out and through June right now. And we've got a great lineup for you. Um, I work for the Brad and Lee Smith Outdoor Economic Development Collaborative at WVU, and our purpose is to address population loss in West Virginia. And we do that through our mission of empowering our state partners like yourself on the ground. We fundamentally believe that our outdoors and the mountains and rivers in West Virginia are our sustainable competitive advantage in West Virginia. If we can get people here, moved here and stay here, and they want to be close to rivers, we know we'll be able to outcompete many other places across the world in the US. So that's our goal. And one of the ways that we do that is through our different programs that we have. We have our Ascend talent attraction and retention side of the house that pulls our talent and keeps our talent here in West Virginia. And then we have our outdoor economy, community, and infrastructure team, which I work on that side. We have lots of different programs that we deploy. If you have interest in any of these, please let me know or visit our website to learn more about them. On the economy and community infrastructure side of the house, we have our trails training and education. These are in-person workshops that are going to be happening throughout 2026. We're building out that schedule now. So if you have interest in hosting one of these workshops look like on-the-ground training for learning how to bench cut, learning how to rock armor, how to do trail assessments, planning and design. They're happening all across the state. If you'd like to host one of those, or if you'd just like to participate in one of these, you can find that on our website. I'll be dropping a couple of these in the chat. Here's a couple of photos of what it looks like out in the field as we do some of the work. It's pretty fun to be able to get out and get the boots dirty and move rocks around and make your trail systems better. We also have these are the upcoming webinars that we have. We have today with Trailforks. Then we have some different trail construction design specific webinars that are coming up by our infrastructure team here at the OEDC. Then we have some grant preparedness workshops or webinars that our grants team will be delivering. And then we have the economic benefits of gravel cycling from a subject matter expert, David Landis, coming in May. And we have many more booked out, just all I had space for on this slide. We have some outdoor community meetups coming out through the month of March. If you're in the New River Gorge region, March 12th at Elevation Sports, March 24th in Morgantown, and March 31st in Elkins. These all feature local presenters and speakers and outdoor organizations that table at the events. It's a great place to network and connect with others, but it's also the featured presentations are a great place to learn about specific projects that might be happening in your region and that you'd like to learn more about, or the community would like to learn more about. One just this recently took place, the inaugural West Virginia Outdoor Economy Summit. So I just wanted to keep this slide in here just to say thank you for everyone that came out to the summit. We sold it out. It was over 350 participants, and it was an incredible summit and lots of really good energy. So just wanted to say thanks to everyone who joined. Thanks, Jacob. Yeah, appreciate that. I see your comment in the chat there. But it was really amazing. We hope to carry that forward into the future. So to find out any additional information, our best way to get in the loop about programs and the outdoor economy in West Virginia is through our newsletter email blast that we share out. I'll drop all these links in the chat, but you can also scan this QR code if you're looking at it with your phone. But now I'm going to turn it over to Willie Jacobs. But before I do, I want to kind of do some housekeeping before we start. If everyone on the webinar could drop your name and the organization and a comment or two on why you attended today's webinar. That'd be really helpful for Willie as he kicks us off, so he knows who his audience is, and uh, to start off. So, really excited to have Willie Jacobs from Trailforks. It's been an incredible tool for a lot of our land managers across the state of West Virginia to really be able to utilize. And I'd like the group to just be thinking about how can you utilize this tool. And I'm going to share just a few different ways that we've seen people utilizing this tool from like the community development perspective. This, is a really robust inventory of trails across the United States and in West Virginia. And it's often utilized in like advocacy purposes. So the International Mountain Biking Association has a partnership with IMBA, and when they do their advocacy, and they work closely with the Outdoor Alliance, they're one of the partner organizations for Outdoor Alliance. So whether it's a mountain biking trail or a hiking trail or anything, this inventory is the GIS platform and inventory that they utilize. So when there's policy or different things coming up that might affect trail systems in a geographic area, they can go to this resource and really see, that, oh, this piece of policy or this action that's being taken by like our federal agencies or state agencies are going to affect these specific trail systems. And so it really helps on the advocacy front. And so take that, back to see, how you might be able to utilize that locally if you're advocating locally. It's also a really powerful tool if you're looking to start marketing your area and being able to put it on the map, being able to demonstrate to your local officials, and why they should invest in trails because you might be in a trail desert, or you might have a lot of trails all around you that have significant impact on the community, but need a little bit of love and attention drawn to them. And this is a great tool to be able to get the data that you need in order to be able to effectively communicate that and have some teeth in to be able to leverage it in your asks. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Willie Jacobs. Willie, feel free to take hold of the screen and share your slide deck. And just want to thank you for sharing your expertise with us today.
Thank you very much. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, perfect. Corey, thank you very much for the introduction. I'm going to give you a very high-level overview today of what Trailforks is all about. Please don't think of this as a lesson on how to use Trailforks. I want you to just get an understanding of what the possibilities are. And then if you're interested in Trailforks, then I would love to schedule a one-on-one meeting with you where we can actually go through the details and see how we can set you up and get you going. Okay. First of all, Trailforks was launched back in about 2015 by Trevor May, who is still our developer today. And he did this up in British Columbia and Canada because their mountain biking club had a very large inventory of trails, and they didn't have a tool with which they could manage and control that inventory and to market it to the world. And so Trevor started working on this little side project, and very quickly all the trail organizations in the area started adopting it. And before he knew, this was worldwide. And the beauty of Trailforks is that it was developed by somebody who has a trails culture. And it was initially developed specifically with trails associations and land managers and trail builders in mind. So all of the tools and the capabilities developed in Trailforks over the years comes from a very practical place, a very hands-on and practical place. What it essentially does is allows you to control your trail inventory and the way that it's messaged to the world. The way that we set it up is that we try and get the local people to take ownership and control of their content. So we don't have a central team of people creating maps and doing things like that. We create a platform. Think of it as a utility. We then train local community groups, land managers, trails associations to take ownership of that platform in their area and to populate it with their information. Trailforks.com, the website is always free. We've got a companion app, which I'll talk briefly about, but we don't charge trails associations or land managers to use this. Okay. And the focus is very much on creating the best quality curated maps with a lot of ancillary information that helps to lower the barriers of entry to all trail-based activities and sports. Trailforks was part of the Pink Bike Group, and about 2 or 3 years ago, the outside corporation took over the whole Pink Bike Group, and with it, Trailforks went to outside, which was great because now we form part of this big stable of brands that operates in the outside space, and we now have access to a lot of resources which we didn't originally have, which is really good. But fortunately, outside has allowed Trailforks to remain true to its mission to help trails associations, trails organizations. So not much has changed in terms of our mission. As I said, the Trailforks has two components to it. There's the trailforks.com website, and on the website is where land managers, trails associations, and organizations does the curation of all of their information. But then there's the companion app. And the companion app allows trail users, while they're out on the trails, to access all the information that is available on the website. The website is always free for anybody to use. The app is also free. There is inside the app, there is a paywall with some of the bells and whistles and advanced value added features behind the paywall, but all of the basic functionality is always free and is in front of the paywall. We'll talk a bit more about that as we go through. One important feature of Trailforks, it originated as a mountain biking app, but very quickly the land managers told us, hey, our trail areas is not exclusive mountain biking. We've got all sorts of other trail-based activities. And very soon after its initiation, Trailforks evolved into a multi-use platform. And today we've got a platform where you designate what your primary activity is, but below that, there is a layer for each one of these activity types: e-bikes, gravel bikes, adaptive bikes, winter fat bikes, right through to all of the snow sports and so on. If there's a trail-based sport, we've got a layer for it in Trailforks. And that allows you to do some very valuable work in terms of deconflicting trails and helping to manage different trail users so that they don't encroach on other trail users' trails. But it also helps you to manage multi-use trails much more effectively. And then one very important feature, which we're very proud of, we've recently launched a fully developed adaptive trail capability within Trailforks. So there is a freestanding layer in Trailforks where you can put your trails and all of the information related to adaptive mountain biking. So we use the Kootenai standards and a large group of adaptive trail specialists from throughout the United States to help us develop this. So you can have a layer that adaptive riders can go into and read all the technical specifications that is required to access a trail. It's all there in the system. You can add it to any of your trail areas. Well, the way that we set it up is I mentioned that we try and put the local organization in charge of their own content. So where we start out is we create a directory profile which serves as the account for your organization. And all of your organization's content refers back to this directory page. So you've got all of the fundraising, the social media, and all of the lists of trail areas that your organization is associated with is linked to this directory page. And then with it, we create an admin group, and the admin group is where you add at the one end your people who you wanted to empower or designate as your representatives on Trailforks. And at the other end, you add the trail areas, and those people then have editorial control over those trail areas. And what we try and do is get all of your admins, the people in your admin group, in for training. We train them so that they can ensure that all of your organizational information is set up correctly, all of your trail areas are properly integrated and linked, and so on. We work with you to try and determine how many admins you need, how many people needs to be trained, and we train them very much on the role of the regional admins so that your organization through your admins can take full advantage of all of the benefits offered by Trailforks. One really cool thing about Trailforks is that it's a very easy and simple to use user interface. And I'm going to just show you some examples here. Um, we teach your admins how they can upload trails and information relating to your trails, how they can edit trails, and how to add all of the supporting information related to your trail areas. And I'm just going to quickly go to a specific trail area here and show you. I'm now logged into Trailforks, the Creeks Recreational System, and I am going to go into the admin tab here and show you how simple and easy it is to edit and work with trails. Let's say I want to edit this trail system. I just click on the trail, and now you see the underlying lines below the trail. Those are the activity recordings, or let's call it heat maps, that is generated when people ride on the trails. And you are now capable to go in there and just move these waypoints, which constitutes or makes up your GPX file around, and that way you can edit your trails and make really, really accurate trail maps. This is probably the easiest and the most accurate way which anybody on any of these types of platforms can edit their trails. Look at that. You can just jump from trail to trail. And if you want to add a new trail and you've got these types of underlying heat maps, then you just come and trace your trail onto those heat maps. And as you trace it, you generate new GPX files for that trail. It's really simple, very intuitive. And once you've done this kind of work and you've developed your own maps like this, then you've got access to a full inventory management system. So I'm just going to quickly breeze through some of them. Here's an inventory of all of your trails. And if I click there, you'll see you've got a table of the trails. You can filter and sort the trails, and there are all sorts of options that you can download the data as spreadsheets, GeoJSON files, GPX files, OSMKML, whichever you want. And we've got a full-on data export facility where you can create your own data spreadsheets that you can export any data that we've got in Trailforks. And just to give you an indication, every time that somebody records an activity on Trailforks, like a ride log or a hike log or a run log, we've got more than 1,000 data points that we collect the data on your trail use activity. And that data is then available to your organization. And you can come in here, you can create your own spreadsheets depending what data you want. Maybe it's trail usage that you want, or you want to know how many people make use of the adaptive mountain biking trails or that type of thing. You can download all of that data and it's available for you in Trailforks. So there are several tools that you can use as trail management tools. We've also got, let me just go in here into the admin tab. These are all tools that you can use. One very good example here is if you want to understand where your trailheads should be, we've got a system where we can show you where the trailheads, where people start their rides. If I show you there you can see. There and there is where the people start their rides. And for complex trail systems, you can see where the trailheads should be. So there are all sorts of planning tools built into Trailforks. Here is another one where you see all of your trails listed, and on one screen, one page, you can do all of the classification and ratings and so on of your trails, manage the trail use activities, etc., etc. So it's really a very good management tool. Going back to the presentation, um, just go down. Another very powerful tool that we've got in Trailforks is the trail reporting interface. And what we've created here is we've got a tool with multiple purposes and three broad categories of jobs that you can do with it. Number one, your general public has this tool on their smartphones. And while they're out riding on the trail, if they see something wrong, right there on the trail, very simple interface, they can click a few buttons, take a photograph, and that generates a trail report that gets sent straight to you. And before that person's back in the parking lot, you've got the trail report showing exactly what the issue is that is wrong on the trail with a map that shows where that issue is. And that's the first use. The second use is for you as the managers of the trail area on a regular basis to update the status and the conditions of your trails. And that you can do as soon as things change, the weather changes and so on. You can submit bulk trail reports and it updates the status. And the third very useful use is exactly the same thing, but in a planned maintenance way. If you, for instance, the way we use it in our club is at the beginning of the season, the trails crews or trail stewards go out and they do an assessment of all of the trails. And for every problem on the trails, they generate a trail report that gets marked as private so that only the trail crew can see it. And then you can manage the process. And when I say manage process, what I mean by that, let me quickly find a trail here. Where is it now? Let's see. There's a typical trail report, and I can click here and then open an issue because something needs to be done about this. But then you can take this issue and you can do various things with it. You can assign it to a specific user or a specific trail crew. And the moment that it gets assigned to a specific trail crew, you've got a register where all of these open issues are listed. And when they are assigned, you can see who they assigned to. And there's a workflow where you can actually manage the process so that at any given time you can see all of the open issues visually on your maps. If I go here and just show you, I've just opened one issue here, and there you can see that one issue that I've opened. There it is. And it's listed on the open issues list, and it's listed in the issue status log. And as it then progresses through the process until it's closed out, you can know exactly which issues are open, which are in progress. And then once it's closed out, you submit a trail report and a trail work report listing how many people worked, how many hours they worked, what did they do, and any other information you want to. And that then gets kept in a spreadsheet. At any point in time, you can then come back to that database and extract information on trail work that was done by different people, the number of hours worked on different types of problems, etc. So it's a very comprehensive trail maintenance and recording system. And if anybody's interested in that, I'd be happy to spend a bit more time to show you exactly how that works. Then, in addition to that, there's a whole bunch of other activities, and we don't really have time to go through all of them. I'll just give you a quick idea. On Trailforks, once you've mapped all of your trails beautifully and you've got your information put in, then you can use that to generate routes. And you can create events and you can marry the routes and the events with each other. As an example, I can go and show you here. Here is an event that is organized by BUMP, the Birmingham Urban Mountain Peddlers Organization. This is their event, and here are all of the routes associated with that event. And you can link it with bike reg for sign-up links. A totally integrated and comprehensive events management system, including all of the different routes that is associated with that. And then on top of that, there are badges. You can create custom little electronic badges if people meet certain requirements, for instance, ride a route or participate in a race or an event of some kind, they then earn badges. And those badges are permanently displayed on their profile in Trailforks. And it's a really cool way to gamify Trailforks and to run competitions. What we would do is you would, for instance, have everybody come and ride, And everybody who completes the ride automatically earns a badge, and then everybody who earned a badge gets entered for a draw to win a prize or something like that. Then moving on, once you've spent all of this time to generate all of this great information on Trailforks, there is a myriad of ways in which you can use that information to communicate with your communities, to make the information available to your communities. The starting point is through the widgets. We've got a large number of widgets that enables you to take any information on Trailforks, such as, for instance, a map or a route map, and embed that as a live embed on your website. We've got multiple ways in which you can download the data for printing jobs. If you want to generate, if you want to print kiosk maps or any other signage and you need the data on Trailforks, we've got interfaces where you can download that data and get access to your most accurate maps for printing purposes. Generating QR codes associated with your trails in your trail areas. I mentioned signage. There's a multiple ways which you can electronically, through printing and through signage, share all of your data with people. The principle being that you've invested the time to get all of this information properly set up. You have access to that information for whatever reasons you need. And then a very important point that we also want to show you is the statistics that we generate. For instance, I showed you this profile of the Appalachian Mountain Bike Club earlier. You can now go into any one of the regions here and go and have a look at the stats and just have a look here at the type of statistics that we generate. This is the Knox County stats pages, and here you can see this is a listing of all of the trails and right down to the longest, most descent, most climbing, globally ranked trails, the most popular riding areas in this region, with the most trails, most photos, most videos, right down to trail reports. And here you can look at trail check-in counts per year, which gives you a very good understanding of the traffic on different trails year over year. Let me just click on that and see if it will give it to me. Just a second. It's taking a bit of time. It doesn't want to go through. Let me go to another one here. Here you are. Here you can see all of the trails in this area, and you can see the traffic on the trails year over year. And this is very valuable information from a management point of view, because you can now see which trails have greater increases in traffic and which have less. And you can then start interrogating what the reasons for that are. We can show you which are the most popular trails and the least popular trails, when trails were last ridden, and a whole host of other sets of information, all available to you free of charge. And then going over to the next page here, we can show you a detailed breakdown of the people. And here you can see people by gender, by age, visitors, local and visiting, numbers of people. And you can see this information for all time or for the last year or different time periods. Here are the activities per month, days of the week, years, right down to where the visitors come from, the top trails, the top networks, right down to the bike brands that they use and the devices that they use for recording. So we keep a lot of statistics that is all available to you. Let's just get back to the presentation. Okay. We also we realize that many trails associations, and this is specifically for trails associations, have a great difficulty raising funds. On all of our trails, any trails association can participate in the Trail Karma program. After a person has recorded a ride or a run or an activity, they get a prompt from Trailforks to give some money to the trail fairies. And our Trail Karma program has raised well over $1 million in $1 and $2 donations. After a ride, you get an email, please donate to the trail fairies, and so many people make small donations through PayPal to the local trails associations. We also have a member benefit program for trails associations. I mentioned to you earlier that in the app there's a paywall. The website's always free and the app is always free. But if you want the fancy bells and whistles version of the app, in other words, dropping of the paywall in the app, you can buy a subscription to that in the App Store where it costs $54. But if your club wants to participate in this affiliate program, we give you a discount code and your members can get it for $34 instead of $54. And the difference is the commission charged by the app stores. And in effect, we give that discount back to your member. So they get it for $34. And in addition to that, every subscription entered into through your club's discount code, your club gets $5, and that repeats every year on renewal. So it's a way of making access to the premier version of the app more affordable. And then the final slide here. If you are interested to use Trailforks either as a land manager or as a Trails Association, we will take you through this process to create a directory profile, organize your admin groups, and train them. And we'll help you to set all of your registrations for Trail Karma and the affiliate program up. And there is my contact details here. You can just put that link into your browser, and that'll take you to my calendar where you can book a session that we can get together and help you get set up. Okay. Any questions? Corey, over to you.
Hey Willie, yeah, thanks so much for that insight. And I do want to strike up a conversation with the group. And so I do have a couple questions, and I'd like to others to chime in as they just feel free to come off mute and ask. My first question would be, can can you elaborate or dive a little deeper into the trail reporting tool and how a land manager might be able to collaborate with stewardship groups more closely in being more efficient with like resolving maybe a fallen tree or something like that? Like, how does the platform integrate with the two? And do you see this type of relationship working well on the platform?
Oh yes, yeah. I've got thousands of examples throughout the world where it's working very, very well. And the land managers love this because the trails associations, people are out on the trails every day, hiking, running, riding their bikes, and that type of thing. And they are multipliers, force multipliers for the land manager. And we can set it up so that we educate the trail users, and we can do that in multiple ways through QR codes and signage and posters and that type of thing. We educate the local trails community that if they see something, to say something. It's a very simple process with a smartphone. They just press a few buttons and that generates a trail report, and we can set it up so that that trail report goes to the designated person, whether it's a land manager or part of the Trails Association. And then the person who receives that trail report can then um, assign it to the specific trail crew who's got to go and resolve the issue. There's multiple ways in which we can set it up, but the interface between the trail users and the land manager becomes almost seamless where it works well. And it takes the pain out of it. You know, instead of people sending you an email saying there's a tree down on Trail X and Trail X is 7 miles long and you're not sure where the tree is down. With this, with our trail reporting system, you can see exactly where the tree is down. Let me give you an example here.
So you're saying that like the trail report can go to the land manager, but
Oh
also
yeah,
a
you
stewardship group at the same time, and then they can coordinate who goes out to get that tree or something like that.
exactly. You've just got to make it. We just got to make an arrangement locally who should receive these reports and who actions them. And
Hmm.
that's usually very helpful if those roles are sort of defined.
Hmm.
So it may go to a contact person in the club, And the club would then send it to, if there are multiple land managers involved, would send it to the appropriate land manager, or it can go straight to the land manager. It all depends on who is responsible. But the quality of the trail reports is really the issue. You know, like if you look here, there you can see exactly, and this is generated by somebody on the trail. They see it, they put the bike in the photo, they take a picture of that. So you've got a great idea exactly what the problem is as the land manager. And here's a map of exactly where that problem is. And now you can go through the process here. First, opening an issue, and now you can go and assign it to a specific user. You can give them information, and it takes them through the process. And the tools with which you can keep track of these things as they move through the process is really very visual. You've got a spatial map that shows you exactly where all the open issues are. This issues map only has one on it now, but I as the land manager can come here. If I had 50 open issues on my trails, I would see them all. I know exactly where they are, and anybody has access to that.
Got it. Thanks.
Hey there. My my name's Drew. I'm up in Morgantown, also with Corey here. I work for a city here, and we are essentially a bit of a land manager. We do have like a board of parks and recreation that is part of the city and sits with us as the direct land manager of a lot of different properties. I'm really impressed with, the platform that you're presenting here, and clearly Trailforks, it seems like, right, and outside is trying to, correct me if I'm wrong, but trying to get local areas, right, to sign on to this particular platform. You're offering a lot of value, right, for the land manager. And you're seeming to offer a decent amount of value to the users as well. I've heard different complaints, right, over the years, though, from the user perspective with Trailforks. And I'm curious if, you can explain really like why Trailforks and not one of the other, right, competitors, or, and specifically if you do have, say, GIS environments locally, right, why this external, you know, um, essentially platform and not something that you would build internally, right? And that might be obvious in terms of just you've built this all out, right? This is plug and play, but
Yeah,
talking just a little bit more about kind of the industry in general and where Trailforks sits, right? And how can we not lock ourselves into a system that will eventually disappear or, you know, um, deteriorate over time, right?
yeah, yeah. Um, Look, I think that I'm not going to talk about other platforms. I'll tell you what makes Trailfork special. Um, and then you can draw your own conclusions. I think the most important differentiation that Trailforks offers is that we make it possible for you as the land owner, land manager, or local trails association to own your content. You decide what goes up, how it's displayed, and what is made available to the public. And when changes needs to be made to that, you make those changes. You control it. If a trail needs to be opened or closed or rerouted or so on, you do that. We provide you with a very simple and intuitive and easy to use interface where you can make those changes yourself, and we provide training to your people for free. It's free. We don't charge anything for that. We generate our revenue through that little paywall in the app that I told you about. That's our source of revenue. And you mentioned that you've heard some complaints about Trailforks in the past. That is also where the complaints came from. When Trailforks was originally started, it was free. There was no app, there was no paywall. And then down the line, when this thing became so big that we had literally 8 million users worldwide and many, many, many thousands of trails associations, land managers, and clubs all over the world, it costs a lot of money to run a system like this. We were forced to, after the first 7 or 8 years of being totally free, we were forced to create some sort of mechanism to generate revenue to keep paying for this thing. And we had various options. The first option, obviously, is to scrape people's data and to sell it to data brokers. That didn't work for us. The second option was advertising. And we quickly realized that if we go the advertising route, it's just going to kill the platform with clutter and that kind of thing. So we scrapped that. And we came up with what we thought was a very elegant solution is maintain the free nature of the platform, but create a paywall and put some of the value added features behind the paywall so that anybody can still use the basic functionality of the platform. But if you wanted to, the value added things like, for instance, the heat maps and that type of thing, and multiple layers, if you want to see a layer for instance, the smoke from Canada. There's a layer for that. If you want that layer, you've got to have the paid version. And we found that was the most elegant way and the least offensive way that we can generate some revenue. And obviously, there were many people over the years who've invested a lot of time in populating Trailforks with data, and there was a misperception that now they've got to pay for something which they helped to build. And there was some discontent with that initially, but that I think people very quickly realized that the value proposition of Trailforks has actually not changed. And since we put up the paywall, the user totals of Trailforks in a very short space of time has doubled. So the value is still there. I think one of the most unique features of Trailforks, which is very, very different from most other platforms, is the ability to see what I'm going to show you now. If you look at the map, you can open up the activity layers. See that green under there? That's the activity recording layers. That allows you to draw the most accurate maps. This is much more accurate than any single GPX file, because what you're looking at there is you're looking at 1,000 GPX recordings and you map your trail to the average. Nobody else offers you that. And it's available to you for free. And that is, if you want to get a GIS specialist consultant to come and draw your map, they're going to charge you a lot of money to do exactly what Trailforks offers you here. And that I think that's quite unique. And that together with the free training and the ability for you to generate all of this content and be truly in control of it and to be able to download it. If I want to download any of the data in Trailforks, I just click there and here is the trail data spreadsheet download. I build my own spreadsheet and I can determine what data I want and you can pull it out. It belongs to you. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. I mean, I appreciate you answering it directly. And yeah, so I guess one follow-up would just be where you have systems that have a number of different, right, bureaucratic layers, right? You've got maybe a landowner and then a land manager and then different maybe volunteer groups that have signed on with different um, agreements, right, with that land
Yeah,
manager to manage, right? You were sort of describing there is the ability to have this hierarchy in
absolutely. Yeah.
kind of
Let
an
me show you.
area.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, let me show you what we realize that trails are community events and they're living creatures. And the way that we set it up, I'm just going to use one example here. Let's go there. Um, and this is a very simple example. Maybe it's not the best one. Let me go back and um, let's have a look here. On every trail area or trail system, we give you the ability to add who is the local trails association and then who are all the other stakeholders. And here's just one, the Tennessee River Gorge Trust is the land manager. And um, in, if you go into edit mode for this trail area, here you can add any number of trails associations. And this one happens to be the Mountain Biking Trails Association. But you could have a different trails association or support group or friends of for hiking and a different one for equestrians and so on. And we can add them all here. And if you then flip between the different activity types, you will see a different, you'll see the relevant trails association or supporter group for that activity type. So on the mountain biking layer, you see the local mountain biking club. On the hiking layer, you'll see the local hiking club. And then if we go further down, we list the land status. And down here, we give you the opportunity to list all of your supporters. Let me just find it here. Here. You can add all types of supporters. You see, we've got here the Tennessee River Gorge Trust is the land manager, but you can put maintainers, builders, supporters, any other type of stakeholder can be added in. And if you add stakeholders here, um, those stakeholders will all, and including donors, if you've got donors, um, you can add them as well. And all of the supporters will then sit in this part of the page. But then in addition to that, if I go into the admin tab here, we've got a system where you can have all sorts of trail reporters and also trail funding, where you can have all different businesses in the community who give money for different trails and so on. You can attach their logos and their names to each trail individually, or you can do the same for the trail builders or the trail maintainers. If you've got, for instance, a Boy Scouts club or a Girl Scout club looking after a specific trail, we can attach their name and logo to that particular trail or trail area or areas. And then this is also what you do is we create a link that people can go straight through to the website of that stakeholder, whether it's the land manager or a donor or a boys club group. So we have the capability to accommodate all stakeholders, whoever and whatever they are, on each trail and each ride area. So fully integrated because it's a community, living community thing.
Something that I've seen with partners across the state that look at, say, like an internal database or like ArcGIS system, is that sometimes they'll utilize that for very like specific purposes, like kind of thinking of Shark in the Snowshoe Highlands area, where they'll utilize that for specific things. But what they keep coming back to on, like, say, a platform like this is that it allows them to um, collaborate with the federal partners, the stewardship groups, and having everyone be able to access like a central platform. Like a parallel to this is like working in the government or whatever, you might have like an Outlook that not everyone can get into the Outlook shared drive or like SharePoint, but maybe people can get into like the Google shared drive because it's more accessible from like different ways. So like this is one of those cases where a platform such as this allows multiple partners to be able to access it and collaborate with each other,
Absolutely,
versus
yeah.
like the internal might make it more of a struggle to have other people access data because it might be security issues and things.
Let me show you a great example of exactly that. Las Vegas. Um, Most of the land here belongs to the Bureau of Land Management, and you can see here we've added all sorts of little polygons and different colors here. This is all different types of land. And 2, 3 years ago, this land here was very contested with massive numbers of illegal riders riding over very, very important conservation land, and it was a total free for all. And we ended up creating, and Trailforks facilitated that with the Southern Nevada Mountain Biking Association and the local Bureau of Land Managers. We created mutual admin groups, and if you can't see the names here, but this admin group is a joint venture between the local land manager, the Bureau of Land Management, and the local mountain biking club, the Southern Nevada Mountain Biking Club. And they together work in this admin group and control and own the maps. And since we started doing that, and we've got a number of tools that we put in place where you can see exactly where people ride, where the illegal riding is taking place, and the parks, the land Bureau of Land Management officers and the local mountain biking can jointly then do the problem solving, and we found that putting only the legal trails on Trailforks and all the other tools that we made it available to them have reduced the conflict levels between the land manager and the local trail users dramatically in Las Vegas. And it's through that Trailforks offers that joint platform where they can come together. And
Willie, I see in the chat, Tina mentioned, yeah, Drew got to it. There's what is the cost to use Trailforks? Could you maybe elaborate on the cost for like admin and then also users and specifically speaking about can people still do the trail reporting and some of the, can they still look at the trails from the free platform? Like, could they still explore the property?
yes,
Got
Trailforks is free.
what's the cost? There's like a paywall that you were mentioning earlier. Can you elaborate on that?
The 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 website and all of the tools in the website is always free to any individual or organization. The app is free, and in the free version of the app, let me quickly get something and show you here. The Can you all see this page?
Yep.
This here is the free version of the app, and you can see here all of this functionality, and that's the basic functionality of being able to see the maps and follow routes and record your rides and submit trail reports and so on. All of that is available in the free version of the app. And then here, this column is the paid version of that app. Same app, and what you get when you pay is you can do unlimited region downloads, and a region is a state. With the free app, you can only download one state at a time, and with the paid version, you can download unlimited number of states at a time. Okay, so that's the kind of um, on the free version, you can't see multiple downloaded maps offline. With a paid version, you've got unlimited offline downloads. Um, on the free version of the app, there are certain of the premium layers in the map that is not visible. For instance, we've got a map layer that tracks the smoke that comes down from the big wildfires in Canada into the United States. And that those maps and smoke pollution into the US from Canada gets updated daily. That is only available in the paid version. We've got a cell phone coverage map, special layer, which is only available in the paid version. But the basic functionality, like using the maps, following the routes, submitting trail reports, recording your rides, that is all available in the free version. So nobody ever needs to get lost or not be able to use Trailforks because of the paywall. It's exactly the same app. There's just a paywall down the middle, and some of the bells and whistles, the nice to haves, sits behind the paywall, and that's how we generate our revenue. But it's very important to understand that by going onto Trailforks, you're not excluding anybody.
Got it. Thank you for answering that. Any other questions from folks in the group? Just because I see Dave Landis on here, who is a big gravel guy, I know. Curious, what about your gravel or like route curation? Is that something that Trailforks can do as well?
Yes, we've just recently launched we've always been able to put gravel routes onto Trailforks, but we've just in the last month we've launched three special new layers in Trailforks in the activity layers. And if I show you here, we've got a special a fully independent gravel layer, which is on a par with the mountain biking layer. And then we've got an adaptive mountain biking layer and a winter fat biking layer. So in each one of those, you've got full Trailforks functionality for gravel biking, winter fat biking, and adaptive biking.
Fantastic. Thanks. Any other questions from the group before we got just a couple minutes left?
Corey, if I might just, as a final word from my side, say that if you're going to be distributing these slides, on the last slide is my contact details, and anybody who wants to have a further discussion about Trailforks are welcome to contact me, send me an email, or book a session with me, and I'd be delighted to spend time to look at your specific needs and then help you to get set up appropriately.
Fantastic. Thanks, Willie. I will be sure to follow up with everyone who registered on the email or on the for the webinar and follow up with your information and slides so that they know how to contact you and how to get it set up with an admin account to start managing their trail system. Willie, really appreciate your time and expertise and sharing with us this incredible platform and what it could do for West Virginia. Always a pleasure. And thanks everyone for joining today's webinar. And in just a couple weeks, we'll have our next one. So appreciate everyone and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.